Welcome back. This is the fifth in a video series on cybersecurity program development. All the videos are based on my book, Cybersecurity Program Development for Business, The Essential Planning Guide, published by Wiley. It is available at Amazon and at fine booksellers everywhere. Our topic today is vulnerabilities. What is a vulnerability? For our purposes, think of a vulnerability as an open backdoor to your systems. Through this door, attackers can get in and compromise your assets. Why are these vulnerabilities there to begin with? Because information technology systems are incredibly complex, and whenever you're building and maintaining such complex systems, it is inevitable that vulnerabilities will be introduced. How many vulnerabilities are there? Thousands. The list of common vulnerabilities and exposures maintained by MITRE exceeds 79,000. Those are the known ones. I shudder to think how many are unknown. So what do you need to do about it? You need to test to see how many of these vulnerabilities you have. The way you do this is by engaging with a reputable third-party vendor that runs vulnerability tests. It's important that this vendor is not your current security vendor or your current IT vendor. You need an independent third party so that you can get an objective scan. It's not that the existing vendors will cheat, not at all. But the existing vendors already know your systems and they're naturally biased. You need an unbiased opinion. Vulnerability tests follow a common set of steps, no matter what the organization. First of all, the vulnerability test vendor will use your asset classification work as input. This is a critical step. The more detailed and prioritized it is, the easier this step becomes. If your list of systems and assets is long, you may be forced to prioritize and segment the test. You will do this based on the criticality of systems and assets that you have established with your earlier work. I strongly recommend that you test all systems, but I do understand that time and budgets may force the tiered testing approach. That's fine, insofar as you don't make the mistake of thinking that the least important system doesn't need the test. The next step is to compare the list of assets against known vulnerabilities. With the assets prioritized, the tester will use external resources to match each asset to known vulnerabilities of that asset. For example, one question might be, what are the known vulnerabilities for the asset called Windows Server 2008? Finally, the vendor will test each asset against its identified vulnerabilities. This can get tricky. In some cases, testing for vulnerabilities is as easy as making sure that the security patch has been applied or that the system is running the most current version of the software. In other cases, you may need to take the system offline and check the underlying hardware for one specific vulnerability or another. Either way, you'll need the help of at least two technical experts, the vendor performing the tests and your IT team. Once the tests are done, the vendor will recommend specific steps to either eliminate or mitigate the vulnerabilities. The results of vulnerability tests tend to be fairly black and white. Either the asset is vulnerable or it's not. If it is, what you hope is that there is a clear path to eliminating this vulnerability. Now, the bad news. There may not always be a case, and there may be reasons that may be very surprising. For one, there may not be a fix available for the vulnerability yet. The manufacturer or developer may be currently working on it. A worse situation is if your system is no longer supported and there are no plans to fix the vulnerability at all. You will be surprised to know how many times this comes up. Another common problem is when the vulnerability does in fact have a fix, but if you apply it, your systems downstream may not work properly. There may be other reasons specific to your environment, but the good news is, here you have an answer. You either fix the vulnerability or you take mitigating action. Here's the important safety tip. Managing your vulnerabilities can feel like shoveling snow in the middle of a blizzard. Getting the list of assets, researching the vulnerabilities, plug the vulnerabilities, test the fix, then start all over again. No matter how diligent you are, there will always be new ones that are discovered designed to make your life absolutely miserable. Do not get complacent. It can and it will cost you the business. Moreover, failure to do a vulnerability testing is a career-ending mistake. There can be no excuse for failing to test known vulnerabilities. For more information, please watch the rest of my short videos and check out my book, Cybersecurity Program Development for Business, The Essential Planning Guide. And you can always reach me and ask me questions by visiting cybersecurityforbusiness.com. Thank you.